What's going on, Aries? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, shares. Your support really does mean a lot to me, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy your higher self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. Now, the theme of this week's monthly spread is going to be self-growth, Aries, and all the ways that you can embody the best version of yourself. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one, so take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force a reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Oh, there we go. Your space has been cleansed. Gems, feeling great. Just good energy all around here, Aries. And you know what, Aries? I'm on like a gratitude train here, on like a tour, because I got something to thank you all for too. You know, there's one Aries in particular. You know, I'm not sure if they watch me or not, but I had what I will say to this person. You know, I have a bunch of Leo in my chart. I just happened to check out something they created, and message received. If you know, take it as it resonates. But I am grateful for your energy, Aries. I mean, you all are, you're the initiators of the zodiac. You know, you really are really just natural born leaders. And it's really got me thinking about, oh, let me tell you about this spread. I'm just like going into just praising you on this self-growth here. So some of us might need an ego boost. But then I feel like that might be something for the fire signs, you know, because that's something I told Sagittarius, something very similar. So interesting, Aries. But, you know, before I get into let me tell you what's happening. You know, you're probably like, Justin, what are you doing? So I'm switching things up. One, you know, I've been thinking about just how I've been doing the readings. You know, I've been feeling about like restrictions and things, you know, ways we can kind of just like free ourselves up. So I'm just like, you know what? We're just going to go until higher self says stop. You know, we're just going to kind of feel out the energies here. And on top of that, Aries, I am pumped because the very first one on my gratitude tour was Sagittarius, because I met a lovely Sagittarius over the weekend, and they got me so I'm still learning how to use them, obviously, but I got an Oracle deck, and I'm super pumped. I've been using it, and it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, just fire signs, you know, just to start off with, you know, wherever we're at in life, know that you're still being inspirational. You know, your energy, you know, not even just in your sun, you know, if whether you have it in your moon, your rising, wherever you have fire in your chart, it really does leave an impact, and you can affect people in ways that it's one of a kind. You know, it's something that, you know, we all have something special here. You know, just if I'm just talking about fire signs on a base, I mean, it's you're inspirational, you're innovative, you're of course you're intuitive, but it's insane. But then Aries, at a different level, you bring out the heat in people, because Aries, you know, people would see your energy as just as like, you know, really aggressive, you know, maybe something just like, oh, they're just like, you know, kind of headstrong and maybe reckless. But you know what? You provide that kick in the pants that people need to hear sometimes. You know, like sometimes it's you just need to just go, you know, and I'm like, I'm a fan for that. You know, let's keep it moving. And that's where, and I like that. You know, I love that energy that you bring. It's very much just, and I feel like that's one, yeah. Does it have its weaknesses? I'm sure. I don't have any Aries in my placement, but I'm sure, you know, just like with any gift, you know, it has its pluses and it has its skills that need to be refined. But I say when you think about your gift, there is nothing that you should be ashamed of here. Because even when I think about this right off the bat, this is something to talk about here, because this don't even says Aries to me. This says that something's up. Because with the Fool in reverse, you know, maybe we've been going in a little too hot. You know, maybe we've been hit. It's been like kind of back to back stuff here. here. And if that's something that's been going on, pause for a second and figure out what's going on. Maybe this is something that's affected family. Maybe you've been getting warnings from someone. This could be maybe with like a partner that you're with. Maybe this could be a business partner you're with. Someone, maybe kind of close to you. Maybe we made a decision, we made a move, and it didn't work out, and maybe it kind of got people feeling some kind of way. That's one possible thing, just with this little combo here, and maybe because we got, let me stay here first, because there's going to be more, right? Okay. But when I think with this Fool too, I'm wondering if we're also, because maybe that's for some, maybe for some others, I feel like that maybe we're not making a move because of someone. Maybe we feel like that they are not going to approve, or I'm not sure what that could be. And Aries, that's one thing. I feel like if we're at a place where you want to do something, it's going to raise your vibration. I'm not sure why this person wouldn't support that. Maybe you want to, maybe they're thinking it's a different kind of time. Maybe this is something where you have to go on leave for a while. Maybe some of us is, this doesn't tell me military, but, maybe some of us are going to be stationed somewhere. I'm not, just like, take it as it resonates. But I feel like, there's some kind of maybe hesitancy or something, that could possibly be, and maybe we're worried about hurting someone's feelings, maybe we're afraid to communicate, which, again, I'm not sure why that would be, because I feel like if this is something that, I feel like if this is like someone close to you, however that may be resonating, I would think that, someone tells me they want to go out, travel somewhere, okay, as long as you're going to be safe, as long as you're doing something that it makes sense, you're raising your vibration, it's a skill that you want to get on here. And another thing too, why I'm thinking about this, if whatever this is, let's make sure where are our intentions, because I normally don't read the Seven of Swords like the lying, cheating, stealing, all of that deception type of work here. But the fact that it's because it's just kind of hovering here, and I most so just think that it's about getting skills. But I feel like it warrants to mention that if there's some deception going on here, I feel like if there's something that, maybe. Okay, let's kind of go into that for a second. Maybe that there's something to do with, I don't want to say like maybe a third person, if there's any kind of shenanigans going on here, Aries, I don't know on whose part. However, it's not cool on either part, especially if we're in the dark here, and there could be, I'm getting something about some kids, I don't know what's going on with this little pocket here. But if we're in a tricky situation, Aries, let's just, because this feels like, hold on. Because this is normally not how, I've not gotten something like this before. Let's be mindful. That's where that's all the energy I really want to give that. Let's be mindful with what we're up to here. But back to the feeling, like I feel like a need to kind of break free. Maybe some of us are feeling kind of restricted. Maybe this is someone that we feel like that they might micromanage us, or that they're the types that are like, no, Aries, you can't do that this time, or well, maybe after blah blah blah, maybe after, because let's say there are children involved. And maybe we just want to, I don't know what you want to do, but you want to do something that where it is going to leave your partner with the kids, let's say, for a longer period of time than maybe they like. Aries, you got to be fair to them. That's something that we got mindfulness. This is just a little mindful pocket. We just got to be really mindful of what we're doing here. We got to consider all parties. We got to consider your partner. We got to consider the kids. And this is something too, if it makes sense, Aries, I feel like bring the family along, let's start some new experiences together, because I feel like if you started a family with this person in the first place, this is someone that we're holding near and dear here. And if there have been feeling like that, there have been restrictions here, here. Communication. You know, when it comes to relationships, I feel like that's the biggest killer. You know, it's just like not talking about it, you know, and allowing stuff to, we all just paint these, we're painting scenarios here, and it's not nearly as bad as I feel like that it comes across to be, you know, and then it gets in the way of our happiness, and things get all kind of weird here. You know, there's a lot going on here. We haven't really pulled a whole bunch, Aries, but, you know, let's just be mindful, you know, but I feel like there's definitely some more to this story. Let's get a little more into this story here, because I do feel like when I see this devil in reverse over here, I do feel like some of us are getting through something here. So for maybe if we've been in like a thing with, I don't know, maybe getting over addiction, you know, maybe we've quit smoking, you know, maybe we've cut down on drinking, you know, maybe we've started on like a diet, you know, whatever kind of vice, you know, has been going on here. I do feel like this is ground for some celebration here, you know, maybe with the Seven of Swords, you know, I feel like maybe we've picked up some new kind of coping tools here, you know, something where, yeah, boy, yeah, we're getting balanced here. And that's so funny. Aries, I kind of love that. I love that the King of Cups in this deck popped up here, because I don't know about you, but this guy definitely looks like Prince, and I just happen to be wearing a Prince shirt here, so we're just having a conversation, Aries. We're kicking it, so, you know, deal with it, because there's ascension happening. And that's dope. You know, I feel like that, you know, we're getting our head, we're being mindful. We're being mindful, and I'm so with it. And, you know, I really hope that that's the case. And if not, you know, the fact that it even popped up here, if this is something that we've even been kind of entertaining for a while, I think that you could definitely do it, just because this stuff, it's clearly popped up here. You know, this is the nice thing with this stuff too, if it's like, even if we're like, well, Justin, I want to go through this stuff, but it's not resonating with me right now, well, then it's coming. It totally is, because it's like, if the message keeps popping up, if you keep thinking about it, it's showing up in maybe readings that you're watching. It's the phoenix is coming, and that's not to scare you. You know, there's a transformation coming here, and it's being okay with that, understanding that, you know, let's say, for example, if we're battling an addiction here, you can rise up from this stuff here. You can always transform. The only way that we stay in this cage here, we stay in this party here, is if we convince ourselves that we can't grow from this thing, you know, and think that we can't be happy in this more. Because this is a winner. You know, I was telling, that's funny, that's Capricorn's card. I was just telling Capricorn something like this. You know, when we're going through growth and we hit any kind of milestone, we need to take a second and really appreciate even the little ones. Like I was telling them, it's like, okay, you've been in debt for a long time, and then you just paid off your first bill. Throw a party. Let's get wild, because, and you know what? You know, food's gonna be on us, on the Soul Tribe, because you're getting yourself out of a jam, and we can help. But we're all coming to your place. You know, we're celebrating you. You know, like, we can turn the paradigm. You know, if we're thinking that we can't overcome this thing, you totally can. And then each time that you overcome it, I feel like, make it a big deal, because it is a big deal, because you're accumulating cups, and you should be proud of that. You know, that's something to celebrate, because that's not easy. You know, when we're talking about coming over like addiction, especially the way that it's, I mean, look at, like, for example, if you're struggling with alcohol, you know, I mean, you've got, between the commercials, you got like all the games, if you're living in the city, you know, there's very little support sometimes, I feel like, when it comes to addiction. And I feel like it's getting better, you know, but there's still places where we can be mindful. We can always be more mindful. And yeah, tell them, King of Wands, we can always be more mindful. Okay, because yeah, I feel like, you know, some of us, we're in this decision here. You know, we can be in this place of where, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But I feel like when it comes to this little addiction pocket here, you know, I feel like, you know, or whatever vice that we might be getting over, you know, I feel like if we've been kind of nervous, you know, we're not sure, I feel like just get a game plan, find something that makes sense for you. Some people can get it cold turkey. They got to set some boundaries. It may be you might fall off the wagon every now and again, but as long as you get back up, that's all that matters. King of Cups, slips sometimes. It happens, but we get right back on there. We keep it moving, but we analyze what happened, and then we don't do that again. And when it happens, we show ourselves some compassion. We would be kind to ourselves, because when you're going through this stuff here, if you beat up on yourself while you're going through this thing, that's not going to help anything. It's just going to feed that beast, and the next thing you know, it's tomorrow, and you don't know what happened. Your pants are gone, and we got a lot of explaining to do, Aries. And so you know what I mean? It's really, it is within our hands. We just got to figure out how to work with it. If this is something, and keep in mind too, this isn't medical advice, but something to maybe think about too. If we're kind of stuck between this thing, maybe reach for someone to get more professional help. There's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is when we think that taking care of our mental health is a sign of weakness. No, you're refining a strength. You're not feeling at your best. Go deal with that. If your legs broke, you're gonna go get that looked at. So why, if you're not feeling like your head is in the right space, fix that. There is nothing wrong with that. And you know what? I support that. That's how we ascend. That's how because we leave those old things behind and we keep it rising. You know what I mean? Happiness is the name of the game. You know what? I like that the happiness is kicking it by itself here, because it's just like, I feel like one, maybe for some reason, I feel like focusing on our own happiness here, maybe for one, like when I get back to this little pocket here, because maybe if we're not maybe tied down with children, let's say, and I shouldn't say it like that. Let me be more mindful. I really feel like if this is something where there's something going on with your relationship here, because now we got Knight of Cups in reverse, and I normally don't. I know he's for romance. And intuitively, romance is coming up. If we're not happy in something, Aries, really address that. Is there any more in this little pocket? I want to put this little pocket to bed here. If we're not happy, Aries, then I feel like that's something that we need to deal with. Because here's the thing. If you stay in this thing and you keep, it's not the time, then when's going to be the time? Because eventually we're going to be where we're 60, and then we're going to be all bitter, kids are going to be at the house, and then things are going to blow up because we don't have any more kids to distract ourselves with. And that's really because really, in all this stuff here, if we don't think about anybody else, think about the children, because that's your responsibility now. That's something that you and this person had agreed on. And there's a journey that's happening here, and it's not just your own now. This is bigger than everybody. We went in, and now you got something to nurture here. And we really be mindful with that, Aries, because that's something. And if this is something on the partners too, call that out. This could roll. I don't mean to even put this all on you, Aries. It could be the situations are reversed here. Maybe someone is being unreasonable here. Talk about that. If it's not fair to you, it's not fair to you, because we got a kid, and it's not fair to the child. We got a lot of people to think about here. And listen, because I know that, and I'm not, this is not legal advice or any type of things like that, Aries, but if we stay in this place of unhappiness, then we don't. Because I will say, I read something, and I do believe that, and I'm not a parent, so I don't say this lightly. But I do believe that, I remember reading this little quote that it says that there's nothing, I feel like the biggest disservice to a child is an unfulfilled parent. And I feel like if this is something where you are not fulfilled on either side here, this is a discussion that needs to be had. And yes, there are going to be feelings about it. There are going to be, this is not going to be cool. This is not going to be, or it could be very cool. But here's the thing, if we stay in the place where we don't talk about it, that's the worst part of it. I forgot who I just said that to. But if we don't discuss it, that's the worst part, because we're just imagining, oh, well, what if it goes this, how's it going to go sideways? Is it going to go sideways this way, that way, this way, that way, this way? And then they're going to come when this discussion does end up having the need to be had. It's going to come from underneath you, and we're not going to be ready for it. And then what you're going to do, Aries, you're going to have to think on your toes, and then feelings are going to happen, and then all the factor, your game, your perfect, your master plan here is upside down, because what are we doing? You know, and I'm not coming at you, Aries. It's one of those things that, believe me, if you don't believe me, if you don't deal with this stuff here, if you just don't, and it's a lot tougher than it's a lot easier than it seems. And yeah, there are going to be some stuff that you're going to need to deal with, especially if we got kids. You know, that's going to be a whole new, bet this fool's going to go up right here, because it's going to be a whole new journey. But if it's supposed to be, then it's supposed to be, because there's growth that's coming for everybody. You know, that's the thing. I feel like the thing, you know, too, when we talk about the D word, when we get to divorce, you know, divorce is not great, but be glad that the two of you had some sense to realize that this wasn't working. And we can still be civil enough to make this work for them, you know, because that's your number one priority here. You know, I won't, and I tread softly here, because I don't have kids, but I do feel like, you know, I know that I imagine that you love them. So, and that would be nice too, to show them that divorce doesn't have to be a bad thing. You know, this is just like, yo, our vibrations aren't resonating. You know, it's not working, you know. And to show them that, like, yes, it may be a hard decision, but it can be possible. Because look at that. If anything, it just showed you that it is possible. You know, was it hard? Yes, but you know, I mean, it's for our happiness here, you know. Don't let this thing become a burden, you know. Because that's not something beautiful came out of it, you know. And even before things maybe kind of went south, you got together for a reason, and there was something beautiful. This started out something magnificent. There was the Knight of Cups came in once upon a time, all geeked up, you know, bringing his cups, you know, maybe bringing a stereo up to your window, and you know, and it could be too, maybe it's just a simple miscommunication. It don't even got to be anything that big. Maybe there's just like, it's just something that just needed to be addressed. You know, maybe there's something new that's coming from this thing, you know. But I just feel like that everything's going to be, in either scenario here, everything's going to be okay. And I see you coming, you're bringing it. I see today, Aries anymore. And yeah, I mean, hey, I leveled up from this thing. This was very mindful, you know. This was and this was the point, you know. This is another thing too. Like, I feel like when you kind of free yourself up, you know, it's amazing what can happen. Because even see what's happening here. Like, I'm even noticing as I'm doing this reading, you know, I've not felt like this. You know, this is nice. You know, doing something like this, you know, not really knowing how many cards there are, you know, just kind of going free, just utilizing the energy as we can, you know, as we want to. And, you know, for either of you, when I'm thinking about this, you know, maybe this need to break free or whatever this is, you know, I feel like it's about understanding your needs, you know, really, really tapping into that and not denying that, you know, because I feel like sometimes we get into this place on really either side. Here, we can compromise in the sense of or we call it compromise. You know, we're just like, well, you know, if I don't put in the work, then I'm a bad husband, or I'm a bad wife, you know, I'm a bad spouse, a bad partner, you know, and so we we keep our dreams on hold, we keep our emotions bottled up, and then when things happen, then they blow up at random things, and we're not even mad about that. We're mad about that we're not being fulfilled. And then on this other end here, we get into this place of where let's say because sometimes when it comes to addiction, sometimes you get into this place, how I was saying with like commercials and things, they celebrate it so much, and we can get into this place of where we like embody it. It's just like, if we're not, let's say for example, drinking, and then it's all weird, and then people are like, well, what do you mean you don't want to drink? What's wrong with you? And it's just like, what do you mean what's wrong? Like, what? Like, I'm sorry, can you say that again? Because that's insane. And we're working on it. That's the whole point of the soul tribe here. We're trying to change the dynamic here, Aries. So you know what? Here's your energy back. I feel like here's your new start here. With either thing. Let's lay a new game plan here, a new foundation, because here's the thing, your happiness has been chilling up here for this whole reading here. If anything, it's like she was chilling up here waiting for you, and it's just like now I feel like we can get to this place where we can invest in this thing, where we invest in what we want to do. We're finally just doing listening to like our inner voice here. Stopping. We're not ignoring our instincts anymore, because that's just like trying to keep that's just like telling the spring to not come. You know what I mean? How's that gonna look? We go straight from summer or from winter to summer. That would be the planet would be all jacked up. We need to there needs to be that initial rush there. That's what to get to my whole thing, Aries. Get into your energy. If we get into this place of where we're stifling our energies, and this is something that I've been thinking about, and something that I am going to make it more of a point to talk about, because I feel like people have gotten like talking about the planets and the celestial events and all that. I feel like all that good stuff is covered. I'm going to focus more on our gifts here, what we're working with here, because Aries, I'll tell you what, because I would love to see, once we work this, whatever we work this thing out here, and you get to your world here, everybody's going to benefit from that, Aries, because you are leaders. And whatever that looks like, it doesn't have to be whatever that looks like. If we're feeling in a place of where there's just like, if we keep ourselves in a box and we keep our talents restricted, and we don't really connect to what our true potential here, it really is doing just the soul tribe a disservice, and that's really no dig at you, Aries. It's just how things have been set up here, and we're changing that game up, because you can get through this thing here, because the fact that you even get stuck is insane. Like the fact that we don't read the energy so that this stuff doesn't happen here is insane. There are skills to be had, and I'm going to find a way to make it more digestible here, because you are more than just like hot-headed and like whatever maybe the stereotypes that people make you. You're nuanced. I've been looking, like I was telling Sagittarius this, even if you break it down by like the deacon, you know what I mean? They're different chunks, set amount of days, and they have different influences. You have your first little 10-day chunk, it's like your full-on Aries combo. Second, then you get your Aries Leo combo. Right, it gets crazy. And then you get your Aries Sagittarius combo. And believe me, I'm gonna get into it. It's just it's a whole lot, but I gotta, I'm excited, because it's gonna be part of the growth here, because we're getting to understand each other. And I'm a Cancer. I'm a second deacon Cancer. Like it's I got Scorpion influence now. Mars energy, your energy. There's that it's underneath there, Aries, and it changes the game up. It changes how you will even approach your sign, and it changes how you approach life, how you even approach people. When you understand what you're packing, because it's let me just from a start, when I say you bring the heat, it's like that heat where when you feel it's. Start with frustration, when you're just like, but then turn that into excitement. That's the energy that you bring. And I know that thinking about it gives me chills, because it's like someone cranked up your fire. It's like seriously someone came up to your stove. You were just chilling on like one, everything was like, it was just a soft simmer, not even a simmer, just the steam was just coming off, and then Aries came in and it's like, let's go, and it's on, we're off to the races, and I love it, and I think that you should love it too, and other people love it, and I don't even think they realize it, it's fun, it's dope energy, these two. It's super dope. Let's see what we got here so far. So we got, yeah, we do. We got that fire. Yeah, we do. Hold on, I don't even know if you saw that. First, because right now we're not, if we're going through this stuff right now, this wasn't even really a whole lot, Aries, compared to what I pulled. This really wasn't a whole, your reading was pretty straightforward if this resonated with you. And I really feel like that, even on some degree, there's some healing that needs to be done. There's something that, I feel like that there's always something that can that we can get eyes on, and so that we can keep that fire going. You see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. See, this is because prior to, I don't know if I would have, because I wasn't even sure how I would have pulled the oracle cards. I was trying to think about like, how am I going to work that into the readings, and like overthinking it. And it's just like, you know what? No, just go with it. That was part of the gift that I got from you, Aries. And now we got fire, we got heat, and I mean, come on. It's because you know what? I feel like that. Just being in the fire energy so far. I haven't, Leo's next. and there's something, I feel like we haven't been anymore. I feel like we haven't really tapped into our fullest potential yet. And I just don't even mean as a sun sign, Aries. I mean, if you've got Aries in your moon, your rising, your Mercury, your Venus, your how I like to look at it is, up to about Saturn, Saturn, it's like back in the day, it was like the planets that you could see with the eye, it was from, Mercury up until Saturn. So those are the ones that I kind of think are your like real important ones there. Saturn, check it out, because it's check it out. But definitely Jupiter on up, those are your real ticket, your money makers there. Those are the ones to really factor in. And I feel like when we understand that stuff here, like for example, while we're talking about moons, my moon's in Gemini. And the funny thing is, and even when we break it down and get into like houses, my sun is in the 12th house. So I'm a Cancer, but every time someone meets me, they never think, if Cancer is the last thing, oddly enough, they give air sign. I was just, when I talked about the Sagittarius, she said I gave off air sign vibes. She's like, I was thinking Gemini, maybe Libra, something along those lines. And I was like, girl, Cancer all day. And then proceeded to talk crap about Cancer, and bet I had something to say about that. But see, we're still just shooting. We're just talking, Aries. I love our little chats. But we are chatting because there's growth coming. That you know what? Let's switch back over. Because I'm just, Aries. If anything, I was almost even like a little nervous doing your readings, just because I was so excited to talk with you. Like there's. Your energy really did just Ace of Wands. It really, it just like, I'm like, yes, more. I'd like, yes, tap into that energy. There are skills for you. I mean, there are skills for you, and you're just like, you're gonna level up, because really you didn't bring much, and we had a whole discussion, and it's like, it's nice to just see how this plays out. I love it, and I hope you do too. Like this is, I hope you do too. So I think I'm going to leave that there, Aries. I don't even know if I finished up on this. There's potential coming, and bet we're going to find ways to unlock it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to try to talk about all the different placements as it comes up, as it makes sense. You know, we're going to figure out I figured best ways to start with the sun. You know, start with your sun sign, start with what you know, because there's more to it that I bet you didn't know, and you're gonna learn it together. It's exciting, and you know, that's how we do it, and then so you can apply it somewhere else so that it makes sense for other people. So yeah, give it a thumbs up. I'm gonna keep you here all day. Share this thing, Aries. If you know someone who might resonate with this, yeah, definitely share it. You know, let's get you moving. Let's get you on starting up. Let's get you trailblazing. Subscribe, hit that bell button. You get notified when I release videos each week. I'm getting better about being on social media. I got Aries, you know, you got me thinking. I got a bunch of stuff cooking up right now, so I'm just I'm getting all my ducks in a row here. You know, I'm working on my 10 of Pentacles too, because I'm going through a judgment as well. So it's just we're in this together. And lastly, if you have any Cancer in your placement, or maybe you're hopefully you're not dealing with a Cancer, because we understand. Or if you need to just understand how Cancer works, you know, check out my Chariot and Friends. I do videos Monday through Friday there. Definitely talk about lunar shenanigans and all that housekeeping down in the description box below. But let's get your surprise cards, because now that we're getting 2 of them. So, speaking of, first one's the moon here, and let's get to your second one. Wow, the full moon, and we're okay. You see what I'm talking about. Let's Aries, there is a veil that's about to be dropped. I feel it. There's something big that's getting ready to happen in the best possible way. And it would benefit you to understand what you're working with, what your skills are, because look at that, where we just talk, we're talking about the moon. I mean, come on. And the sun is behind the moon here. There's something that needs to get your gifts, that heat. There's something that needs to get eyes on that thing, because Aries, it is time. We're in an age, collaboration is the name of the game. You know, there's going to be some, I mean, really, and there's nothing that's too ridiculous. Think as big and as crazy as you want, and then make it happen. You know, I'm working on something right now. I want to get into it a little bit more before I really start talking about it, but it seems promising, and we're gonna Aries, I tell you, we're gonna raise that vibration through the roof. So thank you for that. I'm gonna leave it there, because that was a strong finish, Aries, and that's stay safe out there. Well, yeah, hold on. You know what? Let me zen. Stay safe out there with all this. You remember, it's the whole reading I said, be mindful while we're dealing with this thing. If we need a third party, you know, make it make sense. You know, let's not that. Don't be reckless in this kind of thing. You know, let's keep it moving, but let's be practical. You know, be mindful of how we're moving. You know, like this is delicate waters here. We do not want to bull in a china shop this one. So, you know, stay safe. Okay, I'll leave that there. I think I got that point across. And Aries, you raise that vibration to Mars. And I will catch you on the next one later.